Hi, welcome to Vlogmas day 22. I'm taking a trip to my local post office to drop off some Christmas cards. Yes, you would say I should have dropped them off earlier, but that never happened. And I'm hoping they will arrive to wherever they need to go to before Christmas. That's what I'm hoping. And I've not worn any makeup, just got a hat on and my jacket. It's pretty cold. But my local post office is just 4 minutes away. 4 minutes walk from my house. This is where I'm heading to drop them off. Come back home. I'm yet to make my Christmas dress. I printed off the pattern, but I didn't realize that I didn't print off all the pages. Once I put everything together, it's a bit up here right now, that's why I'm panting a little bit. When I put them together, I realized it wasn't complete. So I need to tape them all together, cut it out, and probably start sewing today. I would want to make some mince pies with the kids, but I can't tell them because my plans often change. I'm better off telling them when I'm actually ready for it. So I couldn't even say the word mince pies in the house because they would remind me and torture me about it. So I'm heading to my local post office. I come back home, tape the patterns before the sun sets, see about cutting it all up and doing some baking. I was hoping to bake some Christmas cookies today, but I seem to be running out of time of the many things I need to do. And I also needed to make a dress for my daughter, but that hasn't happened yet. I've just returned from my local post office. I've dropped off the cards now, and I'm going to go ahead and print off those remaining pages. If you may know, I'm making the Sicily dress. If you're on Instagram, you might have seen it. It's by the sewing Masin. I think that's how her name is pronounced. It's a newly released pattern. It has been released this year, towards the last half of this year. It's a pattern many people have loved sewing up. Unfortunately, it's a summer dress. I'm happy to make it up because it will also be my entry into the Little Red Dress project, organized by the Twilight Stitcher. It's more or less like sewing for Christmas. It's like a sewing challenge on Instagram, and it will be my entry because it has some reds and it's a little spaghetti top dress. One would wonder why you're making that, but because I know on Christmas Day I won't be stepping out at all. Church will be online, it will be virtual church. So I'm happy to make it, wear a jumper, a cardi on top of it in the house, but I'll still be happy that I've made a Christmas Day dress and probably one to take by the Christmas tree. I was hoping to make my daughter a velvet one I've already cut up, but I'll see if the time allows. Okay, I'll keep you posted on what I'm up to today. If you're wondering how I tape my patterns on the window, I'll show you what they look like. I actually don't bother cutting them up, and this tip was from Hila Saturday Night Stitch. She came to my house and she saw me trying to trim off the sides of the pattern pieces. She was like, do you have that time to waste? And once she told me this, I picked onto it. And what I ideally do, hope it can focus here on the window. There's so much light, but underneath here you can be able to tell behind the pattern piece that, okay, these are the rounded corners that should make a circle. So you join them at that point, you join them at every square, and in so doing you're saving time that you would have spent cutting up the pieces. Let me show you on one I taped up already. You get an idea. It won't look the neatest, but in all honesty, you're going to cut off just the one size you need. Like if you can tell from here, they're not cut off, the pieces are still all together, but I just join them at that point. Then I'll go ahead and cut them up. If I need to cut off this extra one to connect the pieces, I could still do it, but I'm not under obligation to do that. And with that, you save a lot of time that you would have taken, because now this particular dress pattern has 50 sheets. Imagine if you have to first cut those and then align them up neatly. Honestly, it doesn't matter, since at the end of the day it's not the papers you'll be wearing, but it's the dress. So I'm putting all the pieces together, and the only sad thing with this pattern, the pattern pieces are not layered to have just to be able to print off just the one size you need. So it's quite a busy one. So I actually hold them against the light, so the light shows me where exactly to put each paper. And my window is quite long enough. I put 10 sheets all together in a portrait position, so I've got another layer which I'll add on to this. So I had about 5 rows of 10 each. So I'll just put a time lapse as I put things together. The two main projects I have to cut out to sew up is my daughter's Christmas Day dress. If you remember, last week I cut out this. I will be making the Love Notions Prisma dress, and this is the top bit or cut out. This is the skirt piece, which was cut out, but it's a nightmare to work with. Why have I opened it up this soon? But this is the skirt piece already cut out. I had to adjust the pieces because it wasn't as wide as I wanted it. And this will be underneath. So this will be the lining. The satin will be the lining. And also because I don't want the sequin parts to be against her skin. She has quite a sensitive skin. And what I hope to do, actually, this dress shouldn't be lined, but because I'm hacking it, it's meant to be for knit fabrics. This is stretchy. However, the skirt is not stretchy, but it's a dropped waistline, so with that it shouldn't really bother. It will still be wide enough. And what I might do, I might use French seams for the satin so the inside still looks good. And what I might have to do, in that the waistline is free of this, I might have to sew them sandwich together so this fabric does not touch her body. I don't know if that makes sense. I'll try to sandwich the bodies underneath, so the raw edges of the sequin piece will be covered underneath the satin. So I'm going to go ahead and cut up the satin pieces, and I think for the hemming I'll also use bias binding this satin fabric onto this sequin bits, so still it won't touch her skin, but she will love the glitter that comes with it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut up these pieces, the lining pieces of this lining. I had to buy the lining. I had to wait for the lining to arrive. I bought it off eBay, and they are mirror shapes, so I'll go ahead just cut to pieces on the fold, not on the fold, but took mirror images of here. Then I'll go ahead and cut out my pattern pieces for my dress. Those are the two main pieces, my daughter's dress and my son. I made him bottoms to wear on Christmas Day, so he's already sorted. Unfortunately, herbs, I might make him a Christmas present. Probably that might not appear on camera, but yeah, I'll see how I get along with that. But I have that planned out. So I'll go ahead and lay them over, because the skirt piece, both the front and the back pieces are exact, so there's no difference. So I'll go ahead and cut them up with my rotary cutter. I left it out. Left enough fabric. Wait in a bit. Considering that this year we've not had many parties to attend, my daughter hasn't gone to many birthday parties, it's important to me that I get this dress ready for Christmas. At least she gets to wear it for Christmas. And also considering that we've not gone to church much, so I want the dress to get more wear. Since I've already cut it out, I can't put it off until next time, so I must get it ready this time around. And if you're wondering, I'm using rocks. When I went to the seaside this summer, I picked up rocks, and they're what I use for pattern weights. They can't fail you because they're heavy enough. So next time you're by the seaside in the summer, pick up some rocks for pattern weights. They are only pattern weights, they don't have to be as fancy. And also it depends on what you call fancy. That could look fancy in my books. So I'll go ahead and cut it out. I love this dress that I'm planning to use for my Christmas Day dress. It should be a simple dress to sew up. It's cut on the bias, I love it, but I don't like the one single part that you can't cut out just the one single pattern size you need, because on my tape I'm trying to work around with 50 sheets of paper to put together, so it's quite so big. And then I need to blend in my sizes. Size A from the bust, and around waist measurements and hips take me to size B, so I need to blend in the sizing. Like I showed this, I don't bother cutting up with pattern pieces, cutting off the edges before I glue them together. I do it over light. With that I save time. So I'm going to try and blend in. I think I'll consider blending in from the waistline, because still I looked at the finished measurements of the waist. It wasn't that much different. I didn't show that it wouldn't fit me, so I'm going to go ahead and blend in the hips, the waistline to the hip. I'm using a French curve to help me blend in. So now I need to blend in from size A. Size A is their smallest, to size B. I think I bet the hip line lies around here. Most times notches are put at the right spot. The bust line is where these notches are, then waistline, and then we have the hip line there. So I'm going to go blend it in lightly. You don't want to make it so sharp. You need to find a point where you can blend in easily. I think I'll start my blending in from the waistline, twisting the French curve until it comes to the hip line. It's not the neatest, but you don't want to also make it so drastic. Let it curves in even a little bit at the waistline, so I could go ahead and curve it in a bit at the waistline. Yeah, so I'll know what I'm working with. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm going to do it to both the front and back pieces. At least I know I'll have to join the notch at the waistline to the hip line, and then after that I'll go ahead and cut up the pattern pieces, cut out the sizes I need, and then cut up the fabric. It's quite a lot. I know first priority is getting this dress ready before I can sew up my daughters. Let me see how I get along today. I'll keep you posted. This is the progress of my dress. I've pretty much sewn up everything. Don't know if I can show it to you clearly. It's cut on the bias, so it's recommended that you leave it hanging either on a mannequin or on a hanger for 24 hours for it to drape. This is the bottom bit. This is the Sicily dress by Sewing Masin, and it's quite low. I have a feeling I might have to raise the straps a bit. It should be an easy make, but I had to French seam the side seams. I had to go with this French seam because I'm using a crinkle viscose. If you can tell, they are French seamed. I just find it hectic and time consuming sewing along the same line twice, but it's what would give a good finish on this dress, because if you're going to use lightweight fabrics, but what sold me out is the neckline, how drapey it is. And actually this is one piece, so I'm leaving it hanging. And I also already noticed that the seams are uneven. I don't know what, the hems are uneven. If you can tell, the front hem goes off by this much. I thought I'd print it off. I know it comes in 2 lengths, a midi and a knee length, but I don't know what this is all about. But I'm going to ignore it for now, because either way I'll still need to cut it and hem it tomorrow. So I'm going to leave it here for 24 hours to drape, because it's cut on the bias for it to drape, and then I'll come up with the right hem that I need for it. That will be it for today. It's quite late. I'm going to go ahead edit this video probably to get online, but a bit late. See you tomorrow. I just can't even say bye in person because I'm quite tired. I don't look presentable in any shape, but that's our dress. It's coming together. See you tomorrow. Okay, see you tomorrow. Stay well.